You got to get low before God is ever going to make you high. It's in your posture, ladies and gentlemen. You got to get down before Jesus and tell him the truth, because the truth sets you free. In Luke chapter 5, it is the leprous man coming to Jesus. Verse 12 says he is filled with leprosy. You can imagine this. It's actually called Hansen's disease. And it's not so much that it's painful as much as the nerve endings are deadened, so that you don't know when you burned your skin and there's an infection. You don't know when you held onto a tool too long and your hand begins to cramp and it causes intervention into your blood flow and circulatory system. This man filled with leprosy was somebody that was deformed. He had probably club hands. He had lost some fingers. He might have lost his nose. Do you know that he had to go around and say, I am unclean? Now imagine, Jesus is in the big city. That's what the text says. He entered the city, and the man who's supposed to be outside of the city comes into the city to meet with Jesus. He hears Jesus is in his hometown, and he's got to yell out, according to Leviticus, I am unclean. I am unclean. Don't you see the seas parting of people? Don't you see them saying, hey, God told you you're not supposed to be around here. What are you doing? I see some people cursing at him, humiliating him, psychologically, mentally, emotionally. The man is broken, but he's going to get to Jesus. You know what he does? He gets down low. That's verse 13 and 14. The Greek is he licked the dust. Jesus, if you're willing. My friend, do you know what Proverbs 3:34 says? God mocks the mockers, but he gives favor to the humble. Do you know what happens when you humble yourself before the living God? In due season, he lifts you up. Those who humble themselves will be exalted, but those who exalt themselves will be humbled. Jesus actually teaches, take the end of the table, the foot of the table, not the head of the table, so that when the master at the table comes, he can bring you to the head of the table. How about Naaman in 2 Kings? He was a man who needed to be cleansed from leprosy, and he heard from a servant girl that he should be coming and he should go to the prophet, but the prophet didn't even come out to see him. He said, instead, go bathe 7 times in that dirty river. Naaman wasn't going to do it until the servant girl said, you came all this way. Why don't you believe God? In other words, the servant girl was saying, God wants you to get low before he does what it is that you desire. When you get low, it's a posture. You're internally saying to God, I need to hear from you. I want to hear from you. You are my soul food. You're the one that I'm coming to who can change everything. And in my posture, I'm acknowledging that I need heaven to invade my earth. Friend, if you don't want to get low before God, then you don't even need to pray. But if you would set aside time to say to Jesus, if you're willing, you're going to hear from God, not only am I willing, but I will intervene. May God give you a posture of what it really means in your prayer closet to tell him the truth. Because when you do, he rewards openly for how you pray privately.